not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission. If we wish to make it louder, we will bring up the volume. If we wish to make it softer, we will tune it to a whisper. We will control the horizontal. We will control the vertical. We can roll the image, make it flutter. We can change the focus to a soft blur, or sharpen it to crystal clarity. We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your television set.
Hello there. During the toilet paper crisis of Winona, I was able to gain power. And become the supreme leader. You may call me El Presidente, if you will. But today's scheduled programming will be reviews of movies I've watched during quarantine. I hope you enjoy. Yeah, in all seriousness though, this is just a this is what I imagined Johan to look like. I just maybe put some medals right here. I talked about it in the last vlog, but this is mostly gonna be voiceover, since I figured out how copyright laws work with movie trailers and stuff. So it's mainly gonna be voiceover. I hope you enjoy. Well, the first movie that I watched during this whole quarantine, stay-at-home stuff was a Netflix original called The Platform. It's a sci-fi horror type thriller movie that originally was released in Spain. Then Netflix picked it up, and yet I have a mixed feeling about it because the concept was interesting. It's about this guy that he voluntarily goes to this prison, except every cell's designed vertically, and every day a platform comes down with food, and then every month the prisoners are rotated into a different cell. So depending on what cell you're in, it's more difficult to get food, or it's easier to get food. So throughout the movie, every month he ends up with a different cellmate for various reasons. So I'm not gonna spoil anything, but it's kind of reminds me of the Dante's I think it's called Dante's Paradiso trilogy, because he starts out like a really good cell he starts out basically in purgatory. It's a medium cell, and he goes up or down throughout it, but each of his cellmates have like a different look on surviving in the prison. One of them's like, do what you can, eat all the food you can before the platform lowers, because you can't keep food inside your cell, or the cell will start to superheat or super cool to get you to drop it back. So he's like survival of the fittest type guy. And then his second cellmate is a woman that originally he signed up with to go voluntarily into the prison, because he's promised a degree, and he's trying to quit smoking. And her take on it is that you have to conserve resources and make sure the people of the bottom get food. And the third cellmate, he's basically trying to climb up to the top by getting people to cooperate with him and help him. Because each cellmate, each prisoner can pick one item that they want to bring to the prison with them. And the main character picked a copy of Don Quixote. And you can bring anything, a knife or whatever, just whatever's to survive. It's an interesting concept, and the minimalistic set design works. Because basically they just change out prison cell numbers and stuff like that. It works. It makes like a claustrophobic feel to it. And well, eventually the main character and his last cellmate decide to break the system by making sure one of the items gets back to the top level, or the food originally comes down to. But the middle is where the message of the film starts to be overbearing at a certain point, because it's debated about what the message of the film is, but a lot of people say it's like a representation of capitalism and all that. But in combination with that, this main character kind of has a savior complex, and it just gets overbearing at times. That'd be one of my gripes about it. And at some points it takes itself, I don't know if it intentionally takes itself seriously, or the stuff is meant to be funny, so it's not really confusing, but it's just sometimes it doesn't know exactly what it wants to be. Overall, it was a good little movie to watch for a Sunday evening. So yeah, that's my review of The Platform. It was fun, but it wasn't my favorite thing. I'd end up giving it a 6 out of 10. The second movie that I watched during this whole pandemic was Taika Waititi's third film, Hunt for the Wilder People. One thing I like about it would be all Taika Waititi movies is they remind me of 80s and 90s family movies, to where they can be funny but they still have a serious message to them. And that's it's the same with I think the only exception to that would be Thor Ragnarok. But anyway, Hunt for the Wilder People is it's about this kid Ricky, he's like a troublemaking preteen, and he's gone through a bunch of different foster families until this family of New Zealand until this family of New Zealand bush farmers, not that they farm bushes, but that they live in the New Zealand bush, and they know how to survive, and they're also survival experts. Anyway, they adopt him. The wife character in the movie, she's all excited about having a child in the house because her and her husband can't have children, so she's all happy to have Ricky there. But the husband character is apprehensive about it.
You should give me something to do.
And later on in the movie, the wife character ends up dying of a heart attack, and Ricky's gonna end up being sent back to Child Protective Services, and ended up going to juvie since his last family didn't work out, because he's, as I said before, he's a troublemaker. So he runs off into the New Zealand bush, and of course the husband character named Hector tries to go find him. But Hector ends up breaking his leg, and they basically have to wait it out until his leg heals. And during this time, the police and the lead of Child Protective Services for New Zealand thinks that Hector has kidnapped Ricky because Hector has been arrested before and has served time in prison. So basically, after Hector's leg heals, they found this out. So neither of them wanting to go to jail or go to juvie. Basically, survive together in the Alaskan bush, New Zealand bush, and bond over the time period of the months that they're in the New Zealand wilderness together. Yeah, besides that, it's kind of hard to explain because it's like divided into chapters, and each part kind of has its own little adventure connected to it. What I like about both this film and Taika Waititi's second movie called Boy is they're good at showing off and working with the using the New Zealand landscape to their advantage, and it just ends up becoming a very beautiful and beautifully shot movie. And he also tries to encapsulate parts of native or not just native New Zealand culture, but New Zealand culture as a whole in all of his movies. Besides Star Actor, that one's kind of the outlier, but before he became famous for that, that's what he did. He basically made movies about New Zealand in some shape or form. And what's found interesting is he originally was signed on. He wrote the original screenplay for the Disney movie Moana. I don't know if that's how he became connected to make the Thor movies for Disney, or I'm not sure how that all worked out. But he feels very strongly, or he likes to show off New Zealand landscape and the culture of New Zealand. And all the movies that I've watched of his, which is all of them except his first one, which is called Eagle versus Shark, which is a weird romantic comedy. I've thoroughly enjoyed all of them, even though at times they can be sad. Especially Jojo Rabbit, it's sad throughout. It's kind of hard not to make a sad World War II film with Nazis in it. But anyway, I'd give the film probably a 8.8 or 8.9 out of 10. It's a good family movie, unlike the other two movies I'm going to be reviewing in this video. The last film that I watched is it's kind of a weird choice. I had it recommended to me by movie YouTube channel as a top 10 list of what they considered to be uplifting movies. And everyone needs uplifting movie in this dark time. It's a 2001 French romantic comedy called Amélie, and it's probably my favorite movie out of the three movies I've watched. That's a weird choice for a 19-year-old man to watch, but it had a very unique visual style that I appreciated, and it was just very upbeat and happy, and you became invested in it after a while. It's about this it's a period piece for one. It takes place in 1993. It's about this 20-year-old young woman, 20 something year old young woman named Amelie, and she had a sort of a rough childhood to where she her parents thought she had a heart condition, but she really didn't. So she was kept inside and homeschooled for most of her life, and she became more isolated after her mother ended up dying in an accident. She's kind of introverted and she basically kind of acts like a child. She's innocent acting, and what happens is she eventually finds a child's time capsule in her house when she's getting ready in the bathroom one morning, and so she decides to try to start improving people's lives by doing whatever she can, just because she wants some sort of meaning. She wants to make a difference in other people's lives by giving her some kind of meaning in life. So she just basically she goes about trying to do that. Eventually, she meets. It's explained in the movie, but she finds a love interest, and as I said earlier, she's introverted, so she basically has this whole scavenger hunt with them where she's giving them riddles and clues about things, and it's just very interesting how they worked all that out, and it's just a good, relaxing movie to put on and watch. It's pretty funny too, but most European censors are different in how raunchy and I guess you'd call it raunchy comedy is a lot more acceptable in Europe. Weird, that's not a raunchy and that's not a raunchy humor, but bizarrist humor, weird bizarrist humor, and has some raunchy moments in it, but it's a lot more accepted in Europe than it is in America. I guess that's just the aftermath of Europe going through 2 world wars. They needed some form of escapism. It's a bit hard to explain. I've tried it the best I could. But yeah, it's just a funny and heartwarming romantic comedy, and the soundtrack fits well with the movie. It has that happy feel to it, like The Shape of Water does, with just the storybook type fairy tale. I watch a lot of oddball movies. I may do a top 5 favorite movie thing for my last vlog, but it was just both story wise, visually, and it's a very unique movie. The only nitpick I'd have about it is towards the end, after you become invested in it, you're kind of like, come on, Amelia, or Amelie, that's open as a name. It takes her a while to actually make action. That sounded weird. Actually take action with pursuing a love interest in a direct way. And I guess eventually one of her neighbors and friends convinces her to do it, but to actually talk to him in person instead of leaving all these riddles. It's not for everyone. Some people would probably find her meddling creepy, but I didn't really find it creepy most of the time. I didn't really find it creepy. It's basically there's the innocence of a child, and her motives are good at heart. So I'd probably give Amelie a 9.5 out of 10. I hope you have enjoyed today's regularly scheduled programming. Good, yes. Yes, thank you for I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you for clapping. Well, I have a dominion to watch over and guide. So I hope everyone is doing alright during this quarantine.